Hello, and welcome to episode 133 of Flix and a Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me forever and always, the man, the myth, the Camacho, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
Why come you don't have a tattoo?
I love that phrase, and it's appeared multiple times in Dak Shepard properties. On this week's episode, we have a comforting quote from Keanu Reeves, another fan trailer, and other news and nuggets, all before diving into our flick of the week, Idiocracy. But first, Al, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Bell's Larry's Latest Sour.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, you know what? As I was reading it, I realized, wow, I really don't like two possessive words.
Yeah.
You can have two S-ending words in a row, and it's okay, although you do run the risk of lisping.
Yeah, I'm. Also, as far as I don't like two possessives. I also don't like possessive followed by a plural. It's similar sounds.
I guess
that
so,
get you tripped up.
Also, I realized as I was saying S words that it was the Celebrity Jeopardy with Sean Connery joke.
Swords.
No, that's Swords. I'll take Swords for 400, Alex. No, it's S words.
Oh man.
But yeah, I'm trying to. As soon as I said it too, I was like, "Is it just the possessives that catch me, or is it anything that ends?" I was trying to think, and for whatever reason, the first phrase or couplet of words that popped into my head was "Hell's Bells," as sung by what's his name in AC/DC. And I was like, "Well, no, I don't think I lisp when I say Hell's Bells," but I realized I'm pretty sure that and I don't have a lisp, but I'm inclined to acquire one. When you have two consecutive words.
Yeah, for sure. It's a complete, it trips you up. Now, for whatever reason, what popped into my head was imagine making the Peter Piper rhyme all possessive.
Oh, God, no.
Peter's Pipers picked a pack of pickles peppers?
No.
All right, so we got Larry's Sour Ale.
Larry's Latest Sour Ale. It's a kettle soured ale with a dry hop burst. Brewed and bottled by Bell's Brewery, Incorporated in Comstock, Michigan. I believe we've done one other Bell's beer on this show, although I'm struggling to recall what it is. I know I've had only a couple of them. I know Oberon is one of my favorites. I believe going way back to the beginning of the SpinTune.com. Sorry, technically I guess then it was SpinTune.com, though it was the SpinTune.
Right.
We did a series on our favorite beers.
Right.
And I believe Bell's Oberon made, if not the top three, then an honorable mention on my list because it is one of my favorite beers of all time. I do appreciate it when it comes around every spring.
Nice. That sounds familiar. I recently poured that article over, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah, I realized that. I'm like, it's just always there are probably better beers that I would go to for just one beer.
Sure.
But I just always know what I'm getting from it is going to be singularly excellent, and that it's just I could enjoy several of them in a row,
right?
And it just gives me happy feelings, and because it's
multiples of this beer gives me happy belly. What is Oberon?
Well, there's that, but no, it just I always buy it in April or May, and I drink it outside in beautiful 60 or 70 degrees spring weather.
Yeah.
So it gives me it's a not quite a nostalgia trigger, but it's a Pavlovian response to, hey, it's nice weather outside. Let's have a couple of these bad boys.
Nice. Just before the show, I actually walked outside and I thought it was the perfect weather for something it was a perfect temperature for just relaxing out there with the beer. Also, I walked outside into an Instagram filter. I don't know what was going on with the sky, but the lighting was insane.
Well, I crushed it, I think, with the beers that I bought, alcohols that I bought the other day. So for last weekend on Saturday, after a very quick, brutal storm that rushed through for about 8 minutes, in which I stood underneath the pavilion that me and my dad were building, and though literally one section covered by plywood stood under this 4x8 this 4x8 foot section of plywood that's at a 25-degree angle. And it actually worked. The only bits of me that were wet was my shins from the splashing of the big rain. Big rain.
Big rain, yeah. I know Big Rain.
There was some, yeah, it was serious Big Rain.
I'll
And
take
that
Big
was-
Rain over I don't know what I am Rain any day. Do you know what I'm talking about? That mist.
I was No. I'll take Mist over Big Rain.
But it's like falling and misting. I don't know what I am Rain. You know what I'm talking about.
I haven't quite decided.
I think we dealt with that at Logan, which was again another throwback to the early days. There was definitely some I don't know what I am Rain when we got out of the theater.
Was there?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
I remember because like my face was all scrunched up just because I was like, wow, I just endured something, and now I'm enduring this.
I'm so tired that my rabbit holes are crazier than normal, and so all the different directions that my mind is jumping is. I said Big Rain,
right?
And I meant to, but what I was actually thinking, or as I was saying, I was thinking of Heavy Rain.
Sure.
Remember that PlayStation game, Heavy Rain?
Yeah.
Didn't get to play it because I didn't own a PlayStation 3, but I know it was a very well-regarded game with like big twists and stuff like that. So I'm thinking Heavy Rain, and Big Rain is Heavy Rain.
Sure.
Sure. But I was also thinking of, from the most recent season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, the newest Larryism, The Big Goodbye.
Okay.
Which, when he described it, I was like, oh my God, I've done that before. That is a thing. That is totally a move. I think I might have mentioned it when we were watching this season, The Big Goodbye, where you avoid someone all night and then you make this big show of saying goodbye and we have to make plans together and then you have no intention of making the plans.
Yep. It's so good.
So anyway, Larry's latest sour ale.
This is how we make the beer portion of the show go longer.
Actually, wait, no, I forgot. I was talking about beers that I bought for this party last Saturday because the weather was gorgeous after that big rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a bunch of Einstock White Ale, which I mentioned to you.
Yeah.
It will feature on the shows coming up. I have had that one once or twice before now. I'm a big fan of it. It was at the first ever craft beer festival that me and my friends went to.
Mm.
And I saw that they were selling, like, when I say 24 packs, it was boxed 4 6-packs.
Mm-hmm.
Which, functionally is a 24 pack
sure.
of Einstock White Ale. And I was like, oh, I remember the first time I ever heard of Einstock. It was all of my friends were coming over today. We went to this big craft beer thing. And we were like, Icelandic beer? Why not?
Right.
And we went and tried that one. And I believe the Toasted Porter.
Ooh.
Those are the two that they had there. And what was interesting was when you go to one of those, most times international beers don't have anyone who works for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just getting event staff.
Right.
So you don't get to ask them anything about it. Whereas not everyone, but a lot of craft, especially, if you're going to one in New York City, or a lot of times I go to the one across the river from me, they have a ton of New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and Massachusetts breweries. And most of them typically send a representative.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't get one from like someone in California or something like that. You're getting a distributor or you're getting event staff. This one had, then I think they were both American, but they both worked for the company, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly.
It's just like this giant Viking.
And no, they were talking about the beer. Like, they actually knew the beer, which is nice. It's nice to get even if you only get your 90 seconds with the rep, you know what I mean? Just to get a little backstory or this and that. They make really good beer. Who knew?
Nice.
So I had some of that. The White Ale's perfect for a nice, warm day. I grabbed a little Angry Orchard hard cider, which I'm actually going to grab one of those for the later portion of the show. Corona, of course, because we're in the time of Corona, and also it's the summer.
I'm not a fan of Angry Orchard.
I like the crisp apple, which is the one I got. That's one of the very few ciders I like.
It all tastes too artificial to me. Also, cider is ruined for me because I had this jalapeno cider in Asheville, and I will go out of my way to get there and have it again. It was the most amazing cider I've ever had.
My definitive ranking of the best cider is Citizens Press or whatever it is in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty well-known cider. Mm-hmm. They have a bunch of weirdly weird flavors. There's like a lemon ginger cider. They have a bunch of different types of other cider, but their main basic one, and I always jumble the order of the words in it, but Citizens Press United or something the fuck it is what it's called. And that is a great cider, because other than that, I'm not a huge fan. If I do end up liking them, they tend to be the ones that are not basic apple cider, because those they're either way too sweet, or way too dry.
Yeah, it's either way too sweet or way too much of a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah. So, but like I've had like a pear cider, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is really good. And I've had like a rosé cider, like Angry Orchard has a rosé cider that everyone loves, which I think I had once, and it was pretty good.
Down East makes some good ones, and they have this winter spice blend cider that is it's just Christmas in a can. It's so good.
And one of my friends, Kevin, who is one of the co-hosts of the Shortcast pod, Caleb, who was on a few weeks ago with us, who did all the artwork, which Anthony has distractingly behind him as we're recording for Flix and a Six. I only say distractingly because your right shoulder.
Oh yeah, I'm half here.
So Caleb and Kevin host that podcast, and Kevin brought, and he had it a couple weeks ago on the show, and I mentioned, I was like, man, I got to try that, and then I got to try it, and we're going to have some for the show because it's so damn good.
Nice.
We've done Victory Golden Monkey. We both love Victory Golden. Victory Sour Monkey, though.
Ooh.
It was as good as it sounds.
I remember the first time I had Victory Golden Monkey.
Everyone remembers and or forgets the first time.
Oh, I remember the first time I had it. I also remember the first time I forgot I had it.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That time was in Hoboken when we were at One Republic, which was walking distance. So was everything else from our apartment. And it was just like, I don't know, all beers were $1 that day. Like, who knows? But it was too dangerous.
$1 Golden Monkeys is not safe. That is a not safe thing to have in the world.
It was good, though. It was good.
I remember the first time I forgot I had Victory. I fell asleep under a chair in my house.
That's right. I know about this.
Anyway,
yeah. Read this story. What are we drinking?
Back to Bell's Larry's latest.
Latest sour ale.
The name Larry's Latest is a nod to the spirit of innovation and experimentation that Larry started in 1985 and continues within the brewery to this day. Our latest sour recipe has a refreshingly bright, citrusy tartness combined with pungent tropical aromas.
I feel like pungent isn't often used in a positive connotation.
Well, I think everyone has the negative connotation from Anchorman.
Oh, maybe. It could be that. It could also be that when you say it, your nose kind of crinkles because of the pungent.
Well, and I know I always do it on purpose, partially because of Anchorman.
Stings the nostrils.
I think it's the type of word that everyone really enunciates.
Yeah.
Pungent.
Yeah. Cheers.
You know
I want to finally try this. I'm very thirsty. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is tart.
I would say that it has a citrusy tartness combined with pungent tropical aromas.
These are the things you say they are. It's.
I don't know why I love doing that to you because it elicits the same exact response every time, which is just like a giddy giggle.
There's my inner Nick Offerman comes out. There's something funny to me about a very blatant statement of facts as humor that makes me crack up. I don't know what it is.
So you are a big fan of Purred Happily, then?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. You heard.
This is the
with
sentence
Purred.
that I am saying next to inform you that I am done speaking.
This is decent. This is a sideways thumb.
A sideways thumb.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is pungent aromas, the pungent tropical aromas.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't catch so much, but now that it's kind of sitting on my palate, is it mango and papaya? Maybe
papaya. I'm not going to pretend to know that, but I can get behind mango for sure. There's a conspiracy theory here. I don't think papayas have flavor. I don't know that. Either that or I don't have the flavor receptors for papaya.
They do. The problem is, it's been a long time since I've had papaya, and I had it a couple of times, probably like 10 or 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all from, I can't remember what it was in specifically. It was in, those, I feel like it's a thing that only moms buy. Like the canned fruit in like syrup or in like pear juice or whatever.
Yeah.
You have peaches, you have pears, you have pineapples, whatever. There was like a pineapple papaya blend a few times.
Okay.
And I picked the papaya out because I didn't like it. So I don't know if I don't like papaya or if I just didn't like it in that.
Sure.
But as I'm drinking this flavor reminds me of that. And
Interesting.
I don't hate it.
There was the only thing like I tried eating a papaya twice, and both times I didn't really taste anything. And they could have just been that they weren't ripe or decent.
I was going to say
right?
It might have been an unripe.
Aside from it being an alien fruit, and when you cut it open, it's just terrifying inside. It looks like there's aliens like embedded inside of it. It's very creepy. All of the little seeds, they're like all these little balls that if you don't cut it right, they all come flying out. It's terrible.
See, I've never had
the actual
papaya fresh. Wait, are you sure you're thinking papaya, not pomegranate?
Yeah, certain. I like pomegranates. I don't like eating it. It's way too much for sure.
It is, but if you have a good one, it is pretty.
Oh yeah, it's very tasty. If you can go through the whole process of picking out all the seeds and then putting that in some yogurt, it's pretty good.
No, you're doing it all wrong. What you do is you just break off hunks of it, throw it into your mouth like a wad of, chewing gum, like Big League Chew,
and just spit out.
Yeah,
chunks.
You just crunch on it a little bit and then spit out the whole mess of it.
Got it. Okay. Maybe next time. I don't know. But I do remember the taste of papaya from going to like a Gray's papaya and having that papaya drink.
Do you recall the taste of strawberries? I realized as damn it, I should have waited one more second until you were taking a sip because you would have lost the whole glass.
Your timing on that is usually perfect.
Yeah, the problem is that for whatever reason, your camera has about 8 seconds of lag. So I'm trying to guess exactly when you're saying the things you're saying. I hear you perfectly clear.
Sure.
The problem is it's not syncing up with your motions of your body.
Right. I wonder if that has to do with this absurd background that I have.
It almost certainly does. And the background is delightful. It is throwing... I'm almost getting like... You can get motion sickness.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, something is like when you watch a movie and the lag is so bad.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I actually got like motion sickness earlier today doing a screen share, pair programming, and Damien was going back and forth between screens really quickly, and because of the lag, it was tearing, and it was like half the screen was moving first, and I thought I was playing that game from Mario Brothers 3 where you have to match the three icons to make the single shape and get a bonus out of it, like the three things going, and it was horrible. It was making me sick.
But anyway, back to Larry's latest. I realized while thinking about the pungent aromas of papaya that saying pungent papayas 10 times fast would not be a great endeavor.
Pungent papayas, 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 pungent papayas. Whoa! All right, I'm gonna have to cut that
out. No,
leave it.
Leave it.
You want to get some news and nuggets?
Sure.
I mean, actually, what do you give this thing?
I don't know. Probably like a 3.25.
Fair enough. On to some news and nuggets. That's like, what is that? That's a thumb and a nub, isn't it? No, it's just a nub.
Well, I don't know. If the middle of the scale is 2.5, it would be sideways thumb.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess it would be a nub.
That's true.
One thumb knuckle?
One knuckle. One thuckle.
Oh, no.
Okay, starting off with Keanu Reeves. In an interview with Empire Magazine, Keanu Reeves says, Lana Wachowski wrote a beautiful script and a wonderful story that resonated with me. That's the only reason to do it. To work with her again is just amazing. And that is what excites me, because we've talked at length on this show about when people enjoy working with each other, it shows in the results. And if he's passionate about this with her, I mean, granted, he's a wild card because he's just whacked, but I love him.
Total wild card.
But I really like to hear that people are having a good time on set. I like even more to realize it myself watching the movie, as we did with Knives Out and such movies that we've come across over the past few weeks. Actually, I feel like we've touched on that a few times, maybe within the past 3 months. But
well, the big one for us has been Deus, right?
Yeah, but that's true. And I guess any of his stuff, right? It seems like they all work well together. But I don't know. That just excites me because, like, overall, like, I'm not like on the edge of my seat for the fourth Matrix movie. I don't know where you're going, and I don't feel like I need or want it necessarily. But if you're happy to make it and you guys are into it, I'll watch it. Yeah,
I mean, certainly getting the buy-in, the fact that it doesn't feel like anyone's being, although at this stage in their careers, none of them is getting dragged into a movie they don't want to do. Right?
That's what I would assume.
I mean, it just like this isn't like Oh, like what? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there's always those movies that like are like a smash success that no one expects, and then they start like greenlighting sequels to,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes very obvious. Maybe not in the making of the movie, but in the promotional stuff, and even the stuff right after when the actors and actresses try and distance themselves from the material, where it's like, oh, you had no interest in doing that movie. That
Hmm.
sucks.
Yeah. That
But you
also
signed a
shows.
contract that had options.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. That makes me, like I said, I didn't care. It was just like a movie that when it comes out, of course I'm going to go see it. That makes me a little bit more excited for it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward.
Well, it sets my anxiety at ease.
Yeah.
In the movie, right? Because
That's
I've
fair.
always been afraid this is a cash grab. Although that's not totally fair, because what's been very plainly obvious for the last 10 years is that the Wachowskis do not care about a cash grab.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form. And whether or not that's something to be like commended or not, whatever, like, is totally irrelevant. I respect that they're not going to just do something because they're going to make a cheap buck off.
Yeah, that's like the artistry kind of shows through there, right? If you're not doing it for that reason, which I appreciate. In other Keanu Reeves news, the new Bill and Ted Face the Music trailer dropped yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. It depends really on when you're listening to this.
That sounds familiar. I do feel like I heard that there was a trailer. I definitely didn't see it.
I will say
I barely have existed socially since Saturday.
I've seen the originals. I actually think I've seen them multiple times, but weirdly enough, they were like during school, like like a substitute teacher or end of the year situation where the history teacher was putting it on.
Of all the movies to play,
yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but it makes me want to go back and rewatch them. I remember them fondly, but I wouldn't say like I'm a Bill and Ted super fan or anything like that. I'm just excited to see this. But I would like to rewatch the originals before doing so. So maybe we'll do, when we do that episode, maybe it'll be like a all three of them kind of thing. Because I feel like they probably won't really warrant individual episodes.
Probably
but
not.
One group one would be good. But anyway, that trailer's out if you want to check that out. So go for it. Give me a new or a nugget.
Yeah, I have.
Or a nougat. Oh.
Well, one is actually going to be more of a tipping off point for you, maybe, to have some discussion, because I'm just going to say I didn't get to watch it because I've been a zombie for the past 4 days. But the season finale of What We Do in the Shadows aired last night.
Okay.
Which has me super excited to sit down and watch that sometime this weekend when I have time. But what reminded me of is when I went on Plex to watch Idiocracy the other night, I saw that it seems like you may have been getting back into What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah. I that's weird. How do you know that?
Because it shows what you recently added.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. No, yeah, I added it on. I was because I'm more and more interested in it each time we talk about it. I've so far rewatched the first one because I wasn't going to just start from the second one.
That's probably
but it really is. I was watching it again and I was like, I want Kim to like this. I just feel like it's not going to be her humor.
I'm surprised. I actually thought, and I guess maybe I don't know her sense of humor that well, but I actually thought this would be the type of thing like that she might enjoy, kind of just like the banter aspect. You know,
well, one day maybe she'll sit down and watch one with me and we'll see if she enjoys it. But
like, I wouldn't have recommended something like Archer to her.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that she couldn't appreciate it, or at least some of it or whatever, but it's not something I would have pegged like her to like because just the style of like how referential it is and how nerdy it can be, but yet also be incredibly crass or whatever. And What We Do in the Shadows can be that as well, but it's so much of it is like dry humor.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be stuff that she would appreciate.
Yeah, well, we'll have, the only way to find out is if she watches one. So, well, she didn't seem very interested while it was on, and she was in the other room.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, it is the type of thing though where I do think you have to watch fairly closely because there's so many stupid little jokes that are like, even if it's just like a facial tick or like just like a face that someone pulls while something's going on.
What got me this time? Obviously, Creepy Paper got me again, which is it's just so funny.
I laughed like an
but
idiot every single time.
the scene that's even funnier is when Guillermo's holding up like a skeleton paper thing, and he
lights it on fire.
Nando just goes and he sets it on fire. Also, when they have the meeting in the study, or is it the study that he wants them all to go into, and they have this like 5-minute conversation about like, you could have said it already, but I would like to do it in the study. It's just a formality. But when they go in there and they start talking, and then eventually they start hissing at each other.
Yeah. I love how it's so cheap and so cheesy, the effects, but it's so obviously intentional.
Oh, yeah.
Like when the two of them fight and they're clearly on poorly drawn like wires,
Yep.
and they're like swinging so dramatically, like the like such a like stupid like fourth wall breaking joke when they first introduced Nadja and Gregor, and they're playing that really dramatic music.
Oh, and then he's playing the piano?
And he goes, I call that Nadjas.
Yeah. I also liked this is all the first episode, if you want to, like, all of these jokes that we're talking about right now. But another one that got me, this is like that clever, like, it's that stupid phrasing. It's that who's on first phrasing. There's a bunch of half-drunk people in the basement. Where did they get the alcohol?
Are you saying half drunk as in... yeah, what did they get the alcohol? No, not half drunk.
Half drunk.
Half drunk. It's very not hygienic.
Not hygienic.
I just don't understand. It's not hygienic!
So, Yes, I started watching that again.
I know my cousin Mike, hey Mike,
Mike,
watched all of the first season a few months ago. I know he had seen the movie, loved the movie, was kind of so-so in the first season, but I think he was kind of coming around the same way I did. I mean, I enjoyed the first season a lot. The second season is such a cut above.
Oh, yeah.
Because they polish and refine all of the rough edges and like fully actualize into what the show wants to be.
Nice. I do get the vibe watching it that it is The Office season 1.
Yeah, which, I mean, there's a very obvious parallel in the mockumentary thing. Like, but again, it's intentional. Like, and it's always meant to have been breaking the fourth wall. Also, I haven't watched enough of The Office to know if this ever happens, but when they occasionally break, when someone from the camera crew dies, and like, because in the first or the second episode where the Baron kills the guy who does the boom mic, and then the next scene the audio is crap.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
And it's like, I mean, like, come on, like, that's really clever stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I'll definitely get through the rest of it for sure.
The one that's by far the best episode of the whole run was in the second season, and it's the one where Mark Hamill's the guest star. He comes after Laszlo. The two of them are going to duel. Laszlo flees by turning into a bat.
Nice. And
then goes on the run for the entire rest of the episode as Jackie Daytona. It's just, and it's great because they do like the cards when they introduce, and it's him sitting, and he goes, I'm Jackie Daytona. And it says, the flash of the card, Jackie Daytona, normal human bartender.
Nice.
It's just, the whole persona is ridiculous. Everything that goes on around him in this like small town in Pennsylvania is ridiculous. He's hiding behind the toothpick as like his Clark Kent glasses. It's incredible.
Yeah. What other news / nuggets?
My other nugget is the one thing I have been watching a little bit of slowly. Drafting off of your wake, I'm rewatching Scrubs.
Oh, nice.
In these dark times, I needed something to
soothe
my pain and anxiety, and this nothing gets me quite like Scrubs does.
It's so good. I've watched a few more of those.
So much of it. What's that?
I've watched a few more recently of those. It's so silly.
Well, the thing is, like, my sister has seen bits of it, like, when I've watched it in the past, but it's been several years since I've seen any of it. So me and her are watching it together.
Nice.
An episode here, 2 episodes there. And like she has enjoyed the show when she's watched in the past. She's even like aware of some of the in-jokes. One of the things that's taken hold, and I don't know, I know you said you had seen some of it over the years. There's a recurring joke that takes up, I forget exactly when, but fairly early in the show, and it runs for a few seasons, where Elliot can't say like body parts, like private parts. She won't say them. She has all these different words that she uses instead
Right.
of. And so, Bajingo and Swing Chuang are used in this house occasionally in reference to Elliot not being
That's
able
great.
to.
That's great, Pachingo. Oh, man. It's a silly show. I just got through with the run of episodes with Michael J. Fox.
Oh, yeah, he was in what, 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Actually, wasn't even his name a joke? He was Dr. Ben Casey, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a reference to another show. I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I don't know about that, but yeah, I think that sounds like the name that the character had.
I think that was the name of a doctor in another show. I can't remember what the show was now, but I know my mom has talked about it in the past. And like the doctor was known for having like poor bedside manner or something like that. Like it was just like
it wasn't ER.
Maybe I don't remember. So what is that in the 3rd season, or is that?
I think it's the 2nd. I could be wrong. I don't know because I watched them consecutively. I have no gauge on like what season I'm in.
Well, because there's so many damn episodes, I just kind of like I get like the gist of like, oh, that was kind of like there, but like I don't remember like is it late 2nd, is it early 3rd? You know what I mean? Like I always forget.
Early on I couldn't stand Todd, but now I appreciate the ridiculousness of the character.
Oh yeah, no, I mean you're meant to dislike him, and yet they still make you laugh with the character despite your obvious dislike of him, by him being the worst representation of the worst person.
He's filling out a form, and Turk is standing over his shoulder, and he goes, "It's spelled with an E. Also, Todd has 2 Ds."
Well, what's great about Todd is he is almost entirely 100% a one-note character. And they can still make you laugh with him. Maybe not every single episode.
Yep.
But they still make you laugh, even though you know what's coming, or you think you know what's coming.
Yeah. It's so good. It's very enjoyable. I actually just finished the last season of Fuller House, which I was a big fan of. Man, the whole series coming back the way that it did. I know it was cheesy, but it was kind of meant to be cheesy. It really felt like the original show to me. And I enjoyed it the whole way through. And there was actually, it's funny, the doctor name joke that you just mentioned from Scrubs. There's a scene in Fuller House where Uncle Jesse and DJ go meet Stephanie at the hospital. And she's like, "You guys didn't have to come." And he says, "It's all right. I was an ER doctor in a former life." It's just, I love little things like that.
That's funny.
I don't know. It's a super, super, super cheesy family sitcom, but it was made to be the way that it was made to revive that exact 90s style, and they nailed it. I think they did such a good job bringing it directly back to that and keeping it wholesome in the way that they did. So I appreciated it, and I think it's worth everybody's time. Everybody who's a Full House fan's time.
It never really resonated with me. I think it was just I was too young when it was like I mean, it was still syndicated throughout like my childhood or whatever, but it just never really clicked with me for whatever reason. And it's just, I mean, at this stage of my life, I've already, waxed, too long on the topic. I just don't like that stylistic. Fake laugh, the canned laughter. But it just turns me off.
I will also say, like, if you don't have the strong nostalgic draw to the original series, then there's no, I don't think the show is going to be for you.
Yeah.
So there is that part of it.
My final note on Scrubs and such is that once I get a little bit further into the first season, I'm going to start finally picking up on the podcast. The two of them, Zach Braff and Donald Faison, started. So even Kim reached out to me and was like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I was like, "I literally just."
Yeah. Well, you could start now. It's episode by episode.
Oh, I thought they were doing it in like banks of 5 or 10.
No, I think she said I think she said each one is an episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look.
Yeah. But the final nugget that I have is I came across, and I'm not going to drop the name because this isn't super, super nice. I came across a Dark Knight fan trailer, a Dark Knight Rises fan trailer that was like a recut of scenes from the movie and stuff like that to make a trailer for it with maybe a little bit more than you would want if it was the first time you're seeing the movie. It felt more like a rewatch trailer, which I think is a cool concept. Like get you hyped up again, like with like some of the highlights of the movie that are maybe spoilery if you've never seen it before, but if you're a fan, it kind of, it just gets you excited. And it's done fairly well. But one thing dawned on me, like watching it, it's like, I know it's a fan made trailer. I know it's like, it's probably like some like project for a school or whatever, but it's just like, you just can't, like, you can cut that trailer all you want. It doesn't come close to the cut, the real cut of the trailer, or any semblance of what the movie is. And it just reminds me of how amazing Christopher Nolan is as a filmmaker. And it's just like, don't take these scenes and rearrange them if you don't know what you're doing. I was like, don't you do it. But I don't know. Now I just want to. I really want to rewatch that movie again. I would like to rewatch it for the first time again, the way that we did with all three of them on that IMAX screen. It was amazing.
That was ridiculous. The thing is, was the experience that much different than us watching the Lord of the Rings, all of them here? Like, it's funny how it's funny that you think of that totally through rose-colored glasses. And, like, I enjoyed myself, but, like, there was drawbacks to sitting and watching all that in a row like that. Like, I experienced that, and, like, thinking back on it, like, it was fun doing it with you guys, but, like, I kind of think back on it some in the way that you think about the Lord of the Rings day.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that it makes sense that you would look at it that way and I would look at the Lord of the Rings day that way. And that's because, one, I like Batman better. There is that. Two,
the thing is, like, I love those movies too.
Sure.
Like, I love The Dark Knight. Now, I'm not saying I like it as much as you, but I legitimately love that movie. I legitimately love Batman Begins. And the first time I watched The Dark Knight Rises, I had a really good time. It was only upon rewatch that the movie doesn't quite hold up.
I will say, between the silly, not so great trivia in between, the sandwich break in the parking lot, the never ending bowl of popcorn, and just, good company. It was awesome. The IMAX screen, sure. A full theater of people that were there to appreciate the movies and not be dicks about it.
Sure. I view them as similar. Now, admittedly, the Batman one was shorter. The total runtime of the three movies is lesser than The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, by like 4 to 5 hours.
No.
Yeah, because we watched extended versions of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but the total runtime is not 4 hours shorter, is it? I don't know. Maybe it is.
Shave an hour to an hour and a half off each movie, basically.
Yeah, maybe.
The Lord of the Rings was a journey.
No, but the other thing, though, is we are in the comfort of our own home. We could get up and pause the movie, which we did.
Maybe that made it feel longer.
It was, but what I'm saying is you could get up and stretch your legs. We did. We made beer during that day.
That's true.
There was other activities. Mm-hmm. We were on our own schedule. We had food and drink. We drank beer.
Yeah. I
also think part of your, like, looking back on it and not liking it was you even admitted down the line, like, I should not have driven home that night.
That's true. I was very tired.
Not from from a drinking standpoint.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was a 12-hour day or more, 14-hour day, and you didn't get home until like 2 a.m. and were like completely bone tired.
Yeah. That's fair.
But like, I view them as both, like, they were net positive days. Like, they were good times.
Oh yeah.
Good movies with good people. Like, and there was other things incorporated into. Like, it wasn't just the zombified watching of the movies. There's other activities incorporated in what was going on.
I don't disagree.
It's funny that I just think it's funny that we had like the reverse. And now I don't view the Batman one as negatively as the way you said. And I think you over the years you played up a little bit the negative of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh no, I should be clear. I actually have no negative feelings towards that day. It's just how I feel about rewatching the series. I feel like I've got my 10,000 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, it's like 10 hours. Okay? Now just imagine 1,000.
Do you have any other news and nuggets?
I was going to say, it's funny that you mentioned that you want to rewatch The Dark Knight Rises, because we just received a bona fide offer from Gary, who's been on the show a couple times, to do The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I'm in. We're going to make that happen for sure. I will say one caveat, Gary. This is aimed at you. I don't trust people whose phone numbers change. I don't. I just don't trust.
It's changed a few times too, which is the worst part about it. And like the thing is,
Are you living solely on burners? Is that what's going on?
Well, I don't want to get into it, but he's not a drug dealer. It's okay. Yes, I got him that time. Yes, with the lag and everything, I still got him.
Nicely done.
Oh, he's choking to death. Oh no,
we're good. We're fine. I've recovered. We're good.
We are gonna have to get Gary into the Slack, though.
The way the Slack, it's like an old person saying the Netflix.
No, I was gonna say it's like putting it out on the line.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah.
No, what?
You should have access to invite him. If not, I will.
Yeah, no, I've been meaning to ask you to invite him. Mm-hmm. I just keep forgetting. Yeah. It's not like it hasn't crossed my mind.
All right, so
I just simply
coming soon to a Flix and a 6.
I'm too lazy to figure out how to get him on. Well, basically, I want you to go through the work of it. Here's what it comes down to.
So coming soon to a Flix and a 6 near you, The Dark Knight Rises with returning co-star Gary Garecki.
Hey, look, Gary texted us like 10 minutes ago again.
Nice. All of my stuff is on Do Not Disturb because I've had too many issues in the past with recording a podcast and like thinking that everything was like silent, but like one device somewhere in the house is going while you're texting me or somebody else's. But anyway, shall we get into some fun?
It's always like one of the last things that I do before we start recording is just to silence everything about it. But the thing I realized is I think Slack on my phone goes into Do Not Disturb mode on its own.
Yeah, there's a default setting.
Yeah, I went to change it, and then after spending, and I'll be honest, it was about 4 seconds looking for the answer. I couldn't find it, and I gave up. And it was definitely no more than 4 seconds. So it was purely my own laziness. Because what happens is, like, Caleb or Brian will, like, message us late at night,
sure,
which I used to be all for. But now I get up at 5 a.m. every day. So, and I don't begrudge people sending. I really don't actually. I turn my ringer on in case for some reason there's some emergency thing, or if like I slept through my alarm and some my work calls me or something like that.
No.
I don't begrudge anyone sending me messages overnight. It's just that for whatever reason I don't get them, and then all of a sudden I'll get a message from like you at like 10:30 in the morning in a conversation that's been going on for like 3 hours, and I received none of the notifications, and I'm like, but why?
Pourquoi?
Yeah, I'm like, it's like I had things to say about this conversation, and I'm now like hours too late to say the things.
Yeah. It's like you respond wittily to something, and you're like, dude, it's been too long.
Yeah, so I just won't do it, and it's like, oh, I feel like I missed out.
All right, let's get into fun and games. It's time to move on. Al, I've got 2 options for you today.
Okay.
The first option is a fun, similar to the other quizzes that we have done. It's actually, which iconic Terry Crews character are you? And I'm pretty sure we did we might have done a similar one for him or somebody else from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or maybe it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine characters. I don't even remember, but I feel like, so there's that quiz, and that quiz, I took it really quick. It's, it's one of those fun ones that has a description of the character and why afterwards, one of those cool ones. The other one that I have is actually a trivia for the movie that we're doing.
Oh.
And that's,
I'm probably going to be no good.
I was going to say that's actually not something that we've done before, but I didn't know if you needed a memory jog of certain scenes. I thought maybe it would be worth going through it. Yeah,
I think I told you I definitely told you on the phone yesterday. I definitely slept with my eyes open for about 8 minutes during this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have no notes, which you'll definitely not be able to tell once we start recording that part of it. Because I'm a pro. But I got a crazy concept.
Okay, what do you got?
Is there anything stopping us from doing both?
Whoa! You just blew my mind. Okay, now the real question is, which one's first?
Let's have the Terry Crews character first.
Okay, cool. So let's get started. The other one that I came across, which I thought was really funny in concept, was Who Said It, President Trump or President Camacho? But it turned out to be like a very not as funny as it, like, I mean, granted it's not funny, but not like, it wasn't like as humorous and fun to take it, because it was like all of them were Trump, and the last one was like one positive thing, and it was President Camacho. I thought they were all going to be ridiculous, and they were going to be peppered in between, and it was going to be like, oh my god, really? But no, it was just dark. All right, What is your dream job? Chef, police officer, security guard, singer/dancer, pro basketball player, CEO.
They really have security guard and police officer in the same.
They do.
I can't say really any of those in my dream job.
Singer, dancer it is.
I can't sing or dance.
Reach for the stars?
I guess
Chef.
Why not?
Okay. How would your friends describe you? Confident, creative, fearless, responsible, loyal, or hungry?
I mean, probably responsible or hungry. Let's go with responsible.
Okay. What's your Starbucks order? Black coffee, mango dragon fruit refresher, venti iced water, chai tea latte, hot chocolate, extra whip, iced caramel macchiato. You have spilled my macchiato.
Depends on the time of day. So let's go with black coffee.
That just reminds me of John Mulaney. One black coffee, same motherfucker. All right. Pick something to eat after school. Yogurt, pasta, fruit salad, oysters, a Big Mac, instant noodles. We're all over the map with this menu.
Yeah. Sorry, what was it? The first one you said?
Yogurt.
Yeah, let's go with
yogurt. What do you do in your free time? Eat, play sports, hit the gym, dance, work, or play video games?
I actually do a few of those.
I think you don't work in your free time. I guess you could describe it as certain things. Anyway.
I mean, I guess technically my role is editor of the
That's kind of what I was thinking about. Like, oh, yeah, I guess in my free time I edit podcasts and stuff like that. I guess that's technically work.
I'm going to say workout, though.
Okay. Just hit the gym. Get it right. Pick a TV genre. Sorry. Comedy, rom-com, sports, police drama, thriller, family-friendly.
Comedy.
Nice. Good choice. Pick a TV show. The Office, Friends, Breaking Bad, You, Prison Break, Love is Blind. I already selected it for you. I don't know why I asked. Pick a song you know every word to. 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor. Waka Waka, This Time for Africa, Shakira. Firework, Katy Perry. Bodak Yellow, Cardi B.
I don't love any of these options.
I think You Want It That Way.
I was going to go... Wait, the question was simply, which one do I know all the words to?
Yeah.
Right? So it's 1,000 Miles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everyone's seen White Chicks a million times, right?
Yes, absolutely. Hey! You got Latrell Spencer from White Chicks.
Nice.
And it's the gif of it is him shaking his head and then turning to the side and says, "And I need you."
Yeah.
It says...
I mean, just picking that one, I wasn't even thinking of that, honestly, but just picking that one probably automatically is just, yep, Latrell.
Yeah, I actually thought you were going to get Sergeant Jeffords because you picked yogurt. He's addicted to yogurt in that show. But it says, nobody can resist your confidence. You know your worth and you're proud of it. You're never afraid to go for what you want, whether that be in your school, work, or personal life. You don't let fear get in the way of following your dreams. Keep on shining.
I was hoping for Cheeseburger Eddie.
Wait, who's that from? What's that one from?
The Longest Yard.
I still haven't seen that.
What's that?
I still haven't seen that.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I came up the other like a few episodes back, and I added it to the list.
Yeah, so he was one of the convicts, and he's like best friends with Michael Irvin. Plays one of the convicts. Michael Irvin, the Hall of Fame wide receiver from the Dallas Cowboys, and so both of them are like wide receiver, tight end, and he's Cheeseburger Eddie. Somehow he smuggles in McDonald's like nonstop. Like. What's his name? Like Chris Rock is like the red character where he like smuggles everything into the stuff, but somehow, some way, Cheeseburger Eddie always has McDonald's, actual McDonald's, wrapped up in the wrappers in the stuff, and he's like a lot of times he makes really bad jokes or puns involving McDonald's.
I when he shows up in things, I'm immediately delighted.
It was great though because there's one of these guys just gets fucking like tanked in the middle of the field, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, this will help you," and he like pulls like out of like deep out of his like pants like in the middle of football practice like a double cheeseburger and he's like wafting it on like.
Is that your pocket dog?
Yeah, basically.
All right, let's do the actual trivia. And keep note during this because maybe it'll jog your memory for some notes since you have none. All right. So, what is the name of the ultra stupid case study subject seen early in the movie? Is it Clayton, Clem, Cleavon, or Cletus?
Cleavon. That was before I
What do the two D's in Upgrade's name stand for?
Oh, it's a double dose of heaven. I will never ever forget that.
Oh man, the some of these options are pretty great. It says, "Dang, these girls is nasty." The D cups cost extra. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Those were the
fantastic.
Those are the other
Second
options.
AC/DC reference of the tonight.
What is the slogan for the sports drink Brondo in the future? It's like Gatorade with huge pecs.
No, that's something about it's got electrolytes that you need or something.
The
like that.
thirst decapitator. The thirst mutilator.
The thirst.
It kicks water's teeth down its throat. These are pretty great options.
They are, but yes, no. I just love that whole conversation about. But it has
electrolytes. It has what plants need. Yeah. In 2505, what is the number one movie in America about? Burgers, butts, toilets, breasts.
Butts.
Okay. I
actually can't believe I remember that.
In this very stupid future, biblical names appear to have lost popularity, and many people are instead named after consumer products. Which of these is not a character's name?
Oh, yeah.
Frito, Velveeta, Mountain Dew, or Sony?
Oh, outside of Frito, I don't know if any of those people were names. No, Sony was definitely a name. It's between Velveeta and Mountain Dew, and I don't recall.
Right, choose one.
Velveeta.
Okay, I think they're both wrong. I'm pretty sure it is Sony.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought Sony was one.
All right, this is great. This one there's no multiple choice. So
sorry, hang on a second. You know why I was thinking Sony? Because in the book version of Cloud Atlas, all computers are called Sonys. Because everything in the future, in the Neo Soul storyline,
right,
is, since it's like the most ultra pure version of capitalism, everything, instead of like, the way that like tissues are Kleenex,
yeah,
like everything is like branded like that.
Yeah.
And like the brand that won capitalism in that field gets to claim the name of the item.
Right. The English language of 2505 has deteriorated into a mix of street.
It sure has.
It's street slang, Valley Girl, and it's two words.
Fuck. I remember that phrase, that exact phrase, and I can't remember what the third thing was. I remember because I took note because, like, I still don't really know what Valley Girl means, but I've heard the phrase before.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, there's that word again. Phrase, whatever. Shit. I don't remember.
Okay. I'll just put something in there so that it triggers. Okay. As far as the government of 2505 is concerned, what is Joe's name? 2 words.
Oh, not sure.
What master plan does Joe suggest in order to get the crops to grow again?
Water.
Yeah, let's do a futuristic crop dance, use a special super fertilizer, water them, stop having demolition derbies in the field. When the Joe, Rita, and... Yeah, it says when the Joe, Rita, and Frito go to Costco, the greeter welcomes them at the door with this "Welcome to Costco," 3 words. I love you. That cracked me up. Oh, man.
I know, me too.
What is the name of the legendary corrections officer that Joe has to face off against in the end? Is it Taco Supersize, Beef Supreme, Jumbo McNuggets, or Super Rib Steak Jr.?
It's Beef Supreme.
It is absolutely Beef Supreme. I'm pretty sure you got 9 out of 10 on this, which is pretty good, man. Oh, no, right. Sony was wrong, and you didn't have the... it was... sorry, Sony was the answer for the which character was not an actual name. And the English language of 2505 has deteriorated into a mix of street slang, Valley Girl, and various grunts. So you got 8 out of 10. Not too bad. Not too bad. The average score is 6 out of 10. So you nailed it.
Not too bad for a movie that when I was done watching it, I wasn't 100% sure if I retained it.
Well, with that being said, let us get into our flick of the week. Idiocracy, released in 2006, rated R, an hour and 24 minutes runtime. This is your IMDb synopsis. Private Joe Bowers, the definition of average American, is selected by the Pentagon to be the guinea pig for a top-secret hibernation program. Forgotten, he awakes 5 centuries in the future. He discovers a society so incredibly dumbed down that he's easily the most intelligent person alive. Yep, that's on the nose. Sometimes these IMDb synopsi are all over the place, but that one was actually pretty good. Give me your tweet length review.
Sure. It's a good thing I was looking to type into another window at that time. More clever than funny. This satire is very of its time and a perfect cautionary tale for this time, though it may be too late for us now.
Nice. Score?
6.5 out of 10.
Oh, okay. You were more generous than I. I said, Idiocracy has aged incredibly well for a fart joke from 2006. It unfortunately feels more like a history lesson than a satire. 5 out of 10. I don't know. It's fun. It is kind of funny to watch now, especially with the state of the world. And it's like I told you so. But there's like it's just that too. It's things that you already, I feel like, say out loud, but to the, hyperbolically exaggerated into insanity with names like Frito, but which was amazing. With the first moment that Dax Shepard comes on screen, I was like, oh my God.
So is that why we did this movie? Was it because, have you been listening to a lot of Armchair?
I haven't. I've fallen off. I haven't been listening to a lot of my podcasts. I keep falling behind. The only ones that I'm keeping completely up to date with are Game Scoop and Unlocked.
Okay.
But
it's funny. I actually don't know how you ever listen to much because I can't listen to podcasts while I work. Like,
yeah, no,
when I'm doing,
neither can I.
Like thinking, like it's like you are obviously coding all day, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm writing something, if I'm editing, writing, I can't listen to podcasts because I lose the thread.
Yeah.
Either I lose the thread of what I'm listening to, or I lose the thread of what I'm working. So I only listen to music while I'm working, or I listen to occasionally I'll listen to a radio show because I can bounce back and forth between the two.
Sure.
Because it's not as essential. I don't know, for whatever reason, podcasts I feel are more quote unquote essential in the sense that
they're more
I'm making the active.
Yeah. They're more of an active medium. There's something about just it's not like a story most of the time. It's conversational, and you kind of have to be paying attention to catch it all. It's like when that annoying friend in the group is on their phone and it's like, what? Like that, that's what it's like if you're not paying attention to a podcast.
But it's funny because there was times where I was driving so much for work that I was getting so far ahead of the shows I listened to on a recurring basis,
Mm-hmm.
so I would throw an armchair in occasionally. Yeah. And then I was not driving at all, and I had this huge backlog of shows to watch. Now I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I still throw in an armchair occasionally when I need something to fill. I did listen to one the other day, but he mentions it a lot, and he's been mentioning it a lot recently, that movie, I feel like.
Oh, that's fine.
Although not ever really about anything specific to current events, which is how best I would think it would be.
Right.
The episode I listened to the other day that really surprised me was a really good episode because I saw it and I was like, I don't actually necessarily super want to hear this guest, but I feel like the dynamic is so not what I would expect for the show that I kind of have to listen to it for. And it ended up being a really good, really interesting episode, and it was the one with 50 Cent.
Oh, cool. I don't even know who the latest guests are. That's how out of touch I am with it. But I will catch up. That was from
only a couple of weeks ago. I think that was May 30th, so it's really not that far back.
Okay.
I remember seeing it and I was like, that's just got to be that's just so out of if you name 100 guests you think that Dax might have had on.
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't have cracked the top 100,
Right.
And I was like, I listened to some 50 Cent 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But what the hell? It was also one of their shorter episodes.
Oh yeah.
By the end of it, they're best friends. I don't.
That's so funny. I've seen him at a movie theater before.
50 Cent?
Yeah, it's one of those random encounters. No, that's cool. Yeah, I would like to catch up on some of those shows. I definitely on the top of the list of ones that I know that I've missed. I want to listen to the Zoe Kravitz one. The one that you just mentioned, 50 Cent one sounds interesting. I would listen to that.
Zoe Kravitz is good. They have a really good rapport. There's a hysterical story that they kind of go through.
Oh, nice.
He apparently had a huge crush on her mom for the longest time.
Who's her mom?
And, Lisa Bonet. I think I'm getting that right.
Okay. I don't know. I would have to look her up.
She was an actress. She was in The Cosby Show?
Okay.
I want to say. And then she talks a lot about like her splitting her life between being with her dad. There's a whole funny thing where apparently like Dax had a huge crush on her mom growing up, and then kind of got caught at separate times saying that either of them was one of the most attractive women that he'd ever seen or something like that. And like both of them like stuck it to him over that or something like that. It was funny.
Oh, that's funny. That's
they ended
great.
up having good rapport. It was a really good episode.
Nice. But I don't know. It was so funny to see him. Because he looks so different, and just like he's such a tool in this movie because he is one of the idiots of the future.
I couldn't stand his voice.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's like a boy going through puberty saying like really dumb jokes, but it's his extended character is that.
It was like he was spending the whole time trying to say Larry's latest. Bell's Larry's latest. Because there was a lot of lisp.
There really was. The movie's been on my list for a while. Like it's been there. Like I've been wanting to see it. I just never got around to it. I'm finally glad that I watched it. It's interesting to watch just because of the concept and like where we're at and like how it kind of fits in. But overall, like it's not a movie that I'm really gonna rewatch. I don't think.
It's funny because I actually didn't think it was that funny,
mm-hmm.
but I kept throughout the movie being like,
that's clever.
That was a good
one. It had some of those for sure.
Like a lot of them, but none of them really elicited actual laughter from me. And like I actually wanted to root for the movie because I really like Mike Judge. Office Space is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a really well-written movie, despite the fact that it's about a bunch of dumb people.
Right. No, yeah, there's conceptually it's well done, but it almost leans too much into the dumb where it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
I think that might be what my issue is. And overall, like you said, it's not that it's laugh out loud funny. It is the occasional clever thing that makes you go nice, or like that you went there. What it is.
I felt like I was trapped in you haven't reached it in Scrubs yet, but there is a couple episode run where JD is dating a character played by Mandy Moore.
Okay.
And once they actually end up in a relationship, he realizes she doesn't know how to laugh.
Oh boy.
Like she never laughs.
Okay.
And whenever something funny happens, she just says, "Oh, that's so funny." It's like they sit down and watch like a comedy movie together, and she just keeps going. She's like eating popcorn. She's like, "That's so funny. That's so funny." And he's like sitting there like staring at her bug-eyed, like trying not to tear the hair out of his head.
That's awesome.
And that's what I was doing during this movie. I was like, "Oh, that was good."
Yeah.
Huh. That was
you just had a commentary of yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, that's great. What do you have any? Do you have some favorite moments from this one?
Of the recurring jokes that were kind of going around, despite how heavy-handed it was at times, the fact that he couldn't put two and two together that she was.
Oh my god! Yes. I'm with you. That the entire shtick around him not realizing that she's a prostitute and the constant.
They're trying to find like analogies.
Yeah, and the constant reference to Upgrade, and it's like he's clearly a pimp. Like what? And he doesn't get it. And honestly, all of the jokes that revolve around Upgrade might be the highest level of humor in the movie because the whole thing with the sergeant getting in too deep with the pimp. and getting arrested. The slideshow, yes. And then inevitably getting arrested, which causes the shutdown of the program that's top secret, which causes them to go 500 years into the future. Like that, the premise that gets them there.
Wait, what was the headline too? Because the lead was him getting arrested, and the sub headline was about Upgrade getting arrested too. And there was another thing about him getting a double dose of something.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but yes, yeah, it's very, very silly. Yeah, he was fun. You know what? Another thing that cracked me up: the reveal that Dax Shepard's Frito is his lawyer. That was pretty solid. It was a good reveal. That made me laugh. Really, I really loved the way that he gets out of jail.
The thing is, that's what I fell asleep on, and I woke up to him walking out of the jail, and I was like, wait a minute. Did he just walk? Of course he just walked out of the jail, didn't he? And I rewound it a few minutes. I was like, okay, that's right. I remember him getting arrested. And then, they're going through the whole processing, and there's a dude sitting on the other dude's face.
Oh, my God.
Which, actually, I cracked up when they called back to that later in the movie. About, I don't know if it was we're going to get our faces sat on, or someone's talking about, and I was like, seriously?
But
yeah, him just walking out of prison.
Yeah, what I liked about it was I think he's like, oh, I'm on the wrong line. I was already in jail. I'm supposed to be getting out today. And the guard hits him over the head and goes, dummy, you're supposed to be over there. So stupid. And we got it in the quiz, but the whole welcome to Costco, I love you cracked me up. I don't know why. I just found that to be really funny.
Oh, yeah, because it reminded me of, there's always been jokes about, or at least since the rise of the internet age, right? Where eventually companies and computer generated customer service for companies are just going to go over the top, because there's already oh, I know it's my birthday because I get emails from all the things I can order stuff online from. It's oh shit, I didn't realize how many places have my information. I just saw someone talking about that today, and of course it's the next evolution of technology. It's not just, oh hey, you get the email when you haven't visited a site in a while, hey, we miss you, or something like that, or you get a fucking card in the mail from your dentist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking about that. Of course the next thing is a corporation is going to be well, let's just cut to the chase. We love you. We love you. What can we do? We love you.
We love you.
What do you want us to do? We'll do anything. Come buy our stuff.
Obviously we did the Terry Crews quiz prior to in the funny game section, specifically because I adore that man. I think he's so funny.
I didn't realize how little he was going to be in this movie. I thought he was a bigger.
I didn't know he was in it until I saw it, which was great.
Oh no, I always knew he was President Camacho.
Which is just what a great role, though. Because also, what's funny about him is he doesn't seem to be dumb.
He doesn't seem to be nearly as dumb as the rest of them, which is, I guess, how he became.
That's fair. That's fair.
Actually, it's funny that in this time of all, that in a time when everyone is super dumb, the smartest person.
The Secretary of the Interior.
I don't even know what that is.
That guy's the Secretary of Education. Oh man, I don't even what do I do? The concept of the solution to the dried out crops problem was to water them. That had me bawling. I thought that was hysterical. What are they watering it with? And then when you realize just before he says it, son of a bitch, they're watering the crops with Brondo.
Well, it's funny because earlier you mentioned how the What We Do in the Shadows thing with the half drunk, who's on first, and that actually wasn't a who's on first. That's the Arrested Development, the doctor, the terrible doctor. Mm-hmm. That's what that situation is. This was the what.
It's got electrolytes.
It's got electrolytes. But what are electrolytes? They're what plants want.
It's what plants want. But what are they? Electrolytes! So dumb. So dumb. The watering them, that'll work. And then the one single rose is what helps bring this all down at the end. That's great. Overall, though, it's just not it. Like I said, it's I I'm glad I finally saw it, but that's enough for me. It's not a movie that I hold in high regard, nor will I be like, oh, you have to see this. It's like I get the appeal. It's just not. It's just I didn't fully enjoy my time watching it. I was just felt like I was maybe a little bit bored here and there. It's just not what I was looking for.
The funny thing is, for what it was going for, and for the time it was made in, I do feel like it executed on its goal really well, and it's as polished as that sort of movie can be.
Right.
Like, it didn't feel like it was poorly or cheaply made.
Sure. I'm with you on that.
And I think for the most part, the script is pretty strong. Although, it feels like it ended really quickly.
Yeah, it's a strange set of pacing.
Yeah, like, and I'm not. That's not a reference to the total length of the movie. I think the runtime was fine. It's just like all of a sudden just comes to a screeching halt. Like, oh, we got to finish the movie now.
Yeah.
Like almost like Monty Python-esque.
Yeah, they were like, we've really got to keep this under an hour and a half.
Yeah. But it's funny because, like, other than that slightly odd ending, it's a really strong script with really clever dialogue, despite how dumb the dialogue is. Like you don't just stumble upon why come you don't have a tattoo. Like,
yeah. That's funny. Like dialect wise, they did some funny things there, and also situationally, it was clever. It was just for whatever reason, as a movie, like just a movie that I'm going to go watch. Like it's not something that I feel like I'll actually go back to watching. It's just it's just not something that I'm super interested in. Though I am glad I did. I'm not a huge fan of. Well, while it is clever and it has some funny jokes, I'm not a huge fan of. For lack of a better term, like dick and fart jokes, and it does have that in spades, and I understand that it needed to get to to where it was, but it's just I don't know, they're kind of cringy to me, and they're just not funny, and it makes me just go like, get this over with.
It's funny. Well, the thing is, it's satire, and maybe it's a little bit more blunt satire than in other things, but they're not. Like, they're doing dick and fart jokes to make fun of the idiots who are laughing at dick and fart jokes.
And even knowing that it's still something, it just still makes me, like, I just don't want to watch. For whatever reason, it's just, like, they make me cringe.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, listen, not just flat out not, like, understanding it and just flat out not liking it, like, that's fine. And it's not the same thing, obviously.
No.
No, that's not even what I mean. I'm trying to draw, like, a parallel. Like, it reminds me of some of the conversation around something like Blazing Saddles or Tropic Thunder, like orders of magnitude different, right?
Sure.
But those movies are meant to be satires or send-ups of other like types of movies, or even on a scene-by-scene level, like specific tropes in certain movies, right? And I bring up both of those movies because the one common denominator is race and joking about race,
right?
And they do racist things, and people who engage with those movies at an arm's length don't realize that they're doing the racist thing to not make fun of the racist joke, but to make fun of the people who are laughing at the racist joke, or who are doing the racism. Like, the point of, like, the use of the N-word in Blazing Saddles and all of the racist jokes aren't because the racist jokes are funny, because they're not what gets the laugh.
Right.
What gets the laugh is what comes right after it, when they come back and reveal how stupid it is, right?
You are so talented, and they are so dumb.
Well, there's that, but, like, specifically, right? When he's trying to, like, he's, like, locked up. He's kind of started to forge a relationship with Gene Wilder, right?
Okay.
And the old lady comes with the pie. She calls him. She calls him something. She doesn't use the N-word. She calls him something else racist. And he's just sitting there, staring off, like 1,000-yard stare. And Gene Wilder's in his ear. He goes, "What did you expect? Marry my daughter? This and that. You have to understand, these are simple people of the land." And then Cleavon Little just, like breaks, like, and he just starts busting out laughing.
Well, no, it's because he says that, and then he goes, morons.
Yes, yeah. And he busts out laughing, and it's like, the joke isn't that she made a racist joke. The joke is she's the stupid one. They keep thinking so little of him, and he is 10 times smarter than all of them. He keeps outsmarting them and the other dumb racist white people.
But Blazing Saddles is actually the perfect example, because that movie is, again, it does have that stuff, the way that they go approach it, it's actually clever and it's funny. But then there's a whole scene of sitting around a campfire eating beans and farting, and that's not funny to me. That's just
no.
I'm just like, let's move on to the next scene.
Sure, but what I was trying to is, and even though I don't think the execution is nearly as high, and Mike Judge is really good, but he's not Mel Brooks. What he's going for there is making fun of, these people are so stupid. Like, I mean, actually, as a joke, as a setup, the whole thing about the biggest movie is just butts and farts, right? Like, and it's like the movie itself isn't funny. The concept that is all that they find entertaining now, and all of them are laughing and he's not, that is funny. Yeah. Like, it wasn't funny enough for me to be laughing out loud, but it's like, that was one of the moments where I was like, okay. And it's like the same thing, and that's why I brought up Blazing Saddles, like, that's the specific. Same thing happens with Tropic Thunder, where it's like all of a sudden it was a big thing in the news like a couple months ago that people were discovering Tropic Thunder for the first, like, that movie came out 12 years ago or whatever. It's like, that's super racist that Robert Downey Jr. did blackface. It's like, it is racist that he did blackface. Right. But you're like, if you don't watch the movie, you don't get that the whole point is they're making fun of an actor who would have the ego to think that, I'll just go do blackface because I'm that good of an actor. The whole movie is just one big setup to make fun of him specifically, the character, and actors in general who take themselves too seriously. That method can go too far. Like, the joke isn't that he's pretending to be a black guy. The joke is that he's so stupid that he doesn't realize how stupid it is for him to be in blackface. Right. And that's what satire is. And if you only engage with it on the surface level, you miss out. Now, you are not someone who isn't getting that is the point of that thing. It just doesn't work for you, and that's fine,
and it doesn't work for me only because I feel like there's so much more that is clever and doing it well, and then that one seems like it at the when it ends up just being a butt joke. I don't know. On the other hand, Frito talking to Joe, and I don't know if you realize he just takes his pants off and sits down in one of the scenes. I thought that was really funny.
Well, it was funny because it was a visual gag that was a callback to another visual gag. Because when he first busts into his house, he's sitting and watching the television.
Ouch my balls? Is that what it's called? Ouch my balls or something like that?
Yes, Ouch my balls. Which, as much as we were saying dick and fart jokes aren't funny, Ouch my balls actually got a laugh out of me.
The name of the show got a laugh out of me, yeah. That's fair.
Well, there was the name of the show. And then it's like, they're doing things where it's like, and it's actually, that's even more meta because Dax was on Pumped.
Yeah.
And it was basically just Pumped. Right? Yeah. So that was funny on its own. But then it's like, okay, they're kicking him in the balls. And then it just keeps getting more and more ridiculous. So it became the Family Guy style joke where it's like, how far can we push it? Where it's like, it's too far, but now it's so far that it's actually funny again. So that's how, I laughed at Ouch My Balls. And then it's like, okay, they're just rocking him with the balls jokes. And then it just kept going so far that it became funny again. Mm-hmm. And he's watching this whole thing and he's yelling at someone blasted his fucking wall out, right?
Yelling at him, shut up.
It's just you're distracting me from my lowest possible form of entertainment. Forget about the fact that my house is now open to the world. Right. You're distracting me from Ouch My Balls and whatever that hookah /weed/alcohol thing that he was consuming.
I'm pretty sure it was like Brondo on tap. I think it was just a hose into like a Brondo machine.
I'm sure it was, but I got the impression that it was meant to be like mind altering because he was like doing it in the comfort of his home, watching his TV show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so so then he gets up and you realize there's been a toilet under him the whole time in his couch. And it's like, it's funny because that's like such an innovation. Like, let's simplify the thing, but in its own innovation, it shows you how stupid and lazy they are. But that, like you said, they don't make any comment, any note. No one says anything. He just takes his pants out in the middle of the scene and sits down on his couch. It's like, oh, he wants to continue the conversation and also take a shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like a callback to that, like, because I remember when I was watching, I was like, what the fuck is... I was like, oh, yeah, there's a...
That's right. I have here just a handful of quotes that I pulled after the fact that I thought were really funny in the moment. So the first one, I'm going to actually go in reverse order because we already talked about this one, but "Welcome to Costco, I love you" was one of my favorite lines. The other is when Joe is taking the IQ test. And it's, if you have one bucket that contains 2 gallons and another bucket that contains 7 gallons, how many buckets do you have? and he turns and he looks at somebody else with like that side eye, and then you see the other guy trying to put the shapes in the holes, and he can't do it. I was like, that was funny.
Wait, hang on a second. Wasn't there 2 people who couldn't do the shapes?
I think there might have been, yeah.
And it was the same shape in the same hole that they couldn't get. It's like, that was one of those ones where it's like, again, it's like a multi-layered bit of satire, but like that actually just visually cracked me up pretty good.
Yeah. The other one here is when they're in the White House. It actually happens numerous times throughout the movie where he refers to, he wants a glass of water, he wants to put water on the crops, and the response from the other people is like from the toilet.
What? Yeah, what? Like
that's clever. This one you'll probably love. This is a line from Collins, the sergeant. A pimp's love is very different from that of the square. And potentially, I actually forgot about this. I didn't write it down during the movie or anything. Forgot about it when I was looking at quotes after the fact. I remembered, oh, this one was actually potentially the funniest one to me. This is the one that had me laughing out loud. Was, "You're an unfit mother. Your children will be placed in the custody of Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr. Fuck you, I'm eating."
Yeah. Yeah, because it just reminded me of Talladega Nights. Big Red. Fuck you.
Well, that's yeah. Just there were some memorable quotes in there, and the other cameo, I forget. You're not. I don't know if you're. I don't feel like you're not a fan of him, or you're sometimes a fan. But I don't remember. Justin Long. He seeing him cracked me up too, just because I like him.
I like him in small doses.
He was in a very small dose, but it was still. It maybe was too much for you in this though.
No, because he was funny, but the stoner thing was a little bit overplayed.
Yeah.
But no, in general, I did think it was
unscannable.
Yeah, that was funny. No, his clear cut, hands down, best role ever is Randy St. Randy.
Yeah, without question.
The writing, the way he performs the character, just a perfect amount of time on screen. Just the general absurdity of where he's showing up in that, and how he's showing up in that. I mean, it's one of the great cameos of all time.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Are you talking about something like Glengarry Glen Ross?
More like
more like Glenn and Gary suck Ross's big mouth.
Oh. Oh man, what he's a gem. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You have any other closing thoughts on this movie?
Oh geez, I didn't know we were getting the closing thoughts already. The thing is, and I kind of teased it to you beforehand, but I said I have no notes. I mean, realistically, there's some funny lines and situations you can bring up, but despite the fact that it has kind of a deep message, right, where it's never been more true now, 15 years later than when this movie came out, that there has become this weird fascination, forget about excuse of, almost a glorification of being dumb or of not caring. That despite how deep and important and terrifying that thought is, to just observe it is pretty simplistic. And so no matter how deep into the weeds of the satire of that you get, the surface level is an easily observable situation.
Right.
So there isn't actually much to talk about in this. And the movie does an excellent job of painting that picture. It sets out to show you the dangers of that, and it executes on that more than competently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just enough probably to say that. And while I didn't love the movie, I didn't dislike it. It was fine. The problem is it never gets the big laugh, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like, it feels like every stupid little line and comment in Office Space gets a chuckle or a big laugh from me or whatever. But this one doesn't really get it. And part of it's probably because you can see these things it's pointing to and are reminded of things in real life that reflect that. And that's very soap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's well said. Well, like I said, I'm kind of it's just fine, is I believe is how you ended up like the basically the rating to match, like the verbiage to match your number rating of the movie, which I agree, just fine. I was gonna say it's okay. So yeah,
it's a competently made movie that has a message, tells the message quite clearly. It just never moves the needle.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think we're done for the week. So that's all for this week's episode of Flix and a Six. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have a movie for us to review or nuggets for us to discuss, you can send those requests to flixandasix@thespintune.com or tweet us at thespintune. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
I'm Al Bills.
Thanks for coming out.